Hi, this is DeTracey, and this is episode 30 of My Messy House, because MS is raw and real. Now, that messy house, you may, like me, live with MS and fatigue, and you might have a messy house some days, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking a metaphor for the penthouse suite right here of messiness that happens for all human beings, but sometimes us people with MS and fatigue, it's a little messier, would you say? What I want to talk about today, and I didn't write down a word on a post-it note, so we're just gonna free flow here, is resilience. Resilience. When you think about resilience, how does that apply to you? How does it apply to you? I want to talk a little bit for a moment about my cousin, Damon. I've referred to him before. He passed away this year, and that has been very sad for me. He had kidney failure, and he was getting dialysis. And his life just got tougher and tougher and tougher. The point where he wasn't leaving his home for days, he couldn't eat, he was throwing up all over the floor. We're talking like heavy duty stuff, right? And I would call him and we'd talk on, he had given me one of his old iPads that used to be his mom's. She had passed away, and he said, "You want this? I can't use it." So we would talk on FaceTime, and it was hard, right? Because God, I love my cousin. He was like my favorite. I know that sounds horrible to say I had a favorite cousin, but he was just cute as a button when he was a kid and so enthusiastic. And it just broke my heart to see that, he had had such a hard life. He had gotten into drugs, and I don't know if he'd gotten into dealing, but he'd been put in jail, and he had cleaned up his life. He had gotten a job working in a warehouse, in a box manufacturing warehouse. He knew he'd just put his head to the ground and focus on having a stable life. He had a girlfriend, they bought a house, they had a mortgage. And then, when his health went down and his relationship fell apart, there he was alone. Sound familiar to anybody out there? I know. I went through that. And so being on that journey with him and supporting him, I used to say to Damon, man, I'm just so amazed at how resilient you are. And he said, I'm so resilient. Like, he owned it, And good for him for owning it, because, when we're going through heavy duty crap in our life, I think we need to own what our strengths are. And I believe that I have become a way more resilient and resourceful human being based on my circumstances now, living with heaps of fatigue and dealing with MS on a day-to-day basis. And I'm proud of myself about that. I'm proud of the resilience that I have. And just to invite you to ponder for a moment, just think about what has made you the resilient person that you are? What do you attribute that to in yourself, right? In your own strengths and your own superpowers of who you have become while living with this autoimmune disease, the situation, whatever you want to call it. Different people like to call it different things, and I'm not going to name it necessarily the way that you want it to be called. So I'm just going to name it as I call it, which is call it living with MS, living with fatigue. So how has that made me resilient? Well, I've realized, number one, that my capacity is greater than I thought it was. The fact that I have in the last yesterday and today recorded a pile of videos. Whoops, my battery's starting to go low. You got to see my finger there. Isn't that exciting? As I digress. Record a pile of videos for YouTube to share some messages. How I've been able to do that Now, yeah, I might be exhausted for the next couple days, but you know, it's the drive in me, it's the motivation in me, it's the passion in me that makes it possible for that to happen. That creates the resilience. So I'm just really curious. We'll keep this video short today because my battery will probably die soon. Write down below, like, what are the qualities of everything that you have been through that have made it possible for you to be resilient in who you are becoming as a person as you live with MS, fatigue, relapses, and all the other attributes that might come with that for you. I want to hear about it because you know what? We are strong individuals. We are. So let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate the resilience. This is Jen DeTracey, and you are listening to, possibly watching, My Messy House, because MS is real and raw. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I'd love it if you'd subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Write your comments below, like and share. We're better together, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much. Love you. Bye.